Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 53, How to Quit Vaping for Moms with Stress. How are you guys? I hope you are doing amazing and are taking the steps that you need to start living vape-free. If you haven't listened to the show before, welcome, and you are in the right spot if you or a mom that you know are looking to quit vaping for good without white-knuckling it. Today, we have a very special episode in honor of the Break Vape podcast 1-year birthday, and we are celebrating by taking the podcast to new heights and narrowing down on some consistent trends I've seen behind the scenes, which I'll touch on in just a bit. Because first, I want to talk about how last week, episode 52 marked 1 year's worth of consecutive weekly episodes for you guys. So that makes this episode the very first episode into our second year. I hope you guys like the new cover photo and the music that's going along with the show. We are just a few days into year 2, and I have some exciting plans to see where this year takes us. Thank you guys so much for listening in from over 40 countries all over the world. This year, we are going to keep growing, supporting each other, and standing up to the vaping epidemic together in our personal lives, in our free Facebook community, and of course, in our one-to-one and group coaching sessions. And my friends, I really encourage you to actually get involved if you want to quit vaping for real, because behind the scenes of these audio episodes is where the magic happens. I have had the honor to coach many of you who have tried everything in the past to quit vaping. And when I say everything, I'm talking about acupuncture, hypnosis, EFT tapping, meditation, and medication, nicotine replacement therapy like gums and patches, other quitting programs, trying to have a plan to stick to that wasn't working, and often just even white-knuckling it, and the list goes on. So I love showing you guys that there is an easier way to quit vaping in the form of coaching with me that actually works. And wow, have I seen some magic happen over the last year. Behind the podcast scenes in actual coaching, I've seen you guys get curious about how vaping shows up in your life and get really stubborn about quitting for good and do the work that I show you along your How to Quit Vaping roadmap. The results are like magic. I can't name names for privacy of our client friends, but if you're listening, you know who you are, and I am so proud of you. You guys, I have seen these beautiful souls be so introspective and feel feelings that they would rather have suppressed away by vaping. I have seen them get to the root cause of addiction in their lives. I have helped them literally break their vapes, break up with big tobacco, manage withdrawal, create new healthy habits and routines, etc. But here is the really amazing part, and this is my favorite part. After we stop having drama about vaping, I love seeing what you ladies do with your freed up mental capacity. Some of you have finally started that business that's been in the back of your mind for a long time. You're living healthier, you're managing stress in a healthy way, and you're more present with yourself and with your kids and with your family. And all of you have become a better version of yourself, a version who no longer vapes. And to me, my friends, that is magical. So magical, in fact, that I decided to focus on coaching and podcasting for overstressed moms. Now, guys and women, don't go anywhere if you aren't a mom, okay? Because every time you tune in, you'll hear some value from me that could help an overstressed mom you know. She might be your spouse, your partner, your sister, your niece, your coworker, or next door neighbor. And in fact, she's probably hiding her vaping addiction, so it could be hard to know who she is. Maybe she's someone that you'll meet in the future. And when she's ready to talk about it or the subject comes up, you'll be able to gently point her in the direction of this show so that she can start listening and begin getting curious about how vaping shows up in her life. I'd love to share some fun stats with you about what goes on behind the scenes here at Break Vape Coaching now that we're into year 2. Although I have coached many non-parent men and women in my personal life and over social media, to date, 100% of my coaching clients are women, 75% of them are moms, 100% of them are overwhelmed, and 100% have learned the skills it takes to quit vaping for good. What? I know, it's amazing. I know when I meet you as a person who comes into coaching that I can help you quit vaping with tips, tricks, skills, and strategies in a combination that you've never tried before, because the way that I coach is a product of my unique way of putting together everything I learned when I was trying to quit vaping for myself, failing miserably, and then beating myself up over it and rinsing and repeating that awful cycle for years. That was back when I was in a place where I thought vapes had so much control over me. And I see people come to me in this mindset all of the time right now, where they feel like vapes have so much control over their lives. But it was in this place that I actually found my way out. I just kept taking note of what worked and what didn't work, and refused to be a sucker to big tobacco until I created a winning strategy that I followed like a roadmap to finally break free from vaping for good. That's my long-winded way of explaining to you that quitting was a journey. Podcasting has been a journey too, and your own unique quitting vaping journey will be rewarding as well. Guys, we are going to have the best year learning how to ditch vaping for good so that you can free up your time, health, money, and energy, and embrace self-care in order to be the best version of you for yourself and for your family. Next week, we will be into our second year of this show, and we are going to focus on literally breaking our vapes. This will be a really cool episode that you won't want to miss. Like I was saying earlier, my friends, the How to Quit Vaping magic takes place behind the scenes of the podcast. So take the first step on your quitting journey right now and go join our Facebook group. And also head over to our website at www.breakvapes.com and schedule a free strategy session so that we can get to know each other. The Facebook group is a free resource where you can openly talk about how vaping shows up in your life in a safe and zero judgmental place. The links are in the show notes, and I can't wait to see you on the inside. That's all for this week, guys. Bye for now.